Picture this. You're the CEO of a billion-dollar tech empire, sitting front row at a Coldplay concert, living your absolute best life. The lights are dim, Chris Martin is serenading the crowd with Fix You, and suddenly the kiss cam lands on you. Sounds romantic, right? Wrong, because you're not sitting next to your wife of 15 years who's at home thinking you're at a boring business networking event. No, you're canoodling with your company's HR director, and in the span of 30 seconds, your entire life, your marriage, your reputation, and potentially your fortune are about to implode in front of 50,000 screaming fans and millions more watching online. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most expensive concert ticket in history. Because what happened next didn't just break the internet. It shattered a family, destroyed careers, and created the most savage revenge story social media has ever witnessed. Meet Andy Byron, the seemingly untouchable CEO of Astronomer, a tech company worth billions that you've probably never heard of, but definitely use their services. This guy had everything: the perfect wife, 2 beautiful kids, a mansion that could house a small village, and enough money to buy his own private island. But apparently, having it all wasn't enough, because Andy decided to risk literally everything for an affair with the one person who should have been enforcing workplace ethics: Kristen Kit, the company's chief people officer. Yes, you heard that right. The woman whose literal job description includes maintaining professional boundaries and preventing exactly this kind of scandal was the one helping create it. The irony is so thick, you could cut it with a knife, and trust me, the internet absolutely did. So here's where it gets absolutely wild. While Andy's wife, Megan, is at home, probably making dinner for their kids and maybe even posting supportive messages about her hardworking husband on social media, Andy is living it up in premium seats at one of the biggest concerts of the year. But this isn't just any night out. This is the night that would turn him from tech mogul to viral villain faster than you can say conscious uncoupling. Ken the Kiss, that innocent stadium tradition that usually results in awkward pecks and crowd cheers, was about to become the most expensive 30 seconds of Andy's life. When that camera panned across the crowd and landed squarely on Andy and Kristen, the universe held its breath. Picture the scene: Chris Martin crooning about fixing someone, the crowd expecting a sweet romantic moment, and instead getting front row seats to the most awkward display of panic in concert history. Andy's face went through more emotions in those 30 seconds than most people experience in a lifetime: confusion, recognition, absolute terror, and the dawning realization that his carefully constructed double life was about to become very, very public. Kristen, meanwhile, looked like she wanted to disappear into the stadium floor, which honestly was probably her best option at that point. But here's the thing about living in the digital age: nothing, and I mean nothing, stays private anymore. Within minutes, phones were out, TikToks were uploading, and Twitter was absolutely exploding. The concert hadn't even ended before how Coldplay Cheater was trending worldwide, and Andy Byron went from anonymous CEO to the internet's most hated man faster than Coldplay could finish their encore. The memes started flowing like a dam had burst. People were creating content faster than Andy could probably think of damage control strategies. Now let's talk about the real victim in this absolute disaster of a situation: Megan Carrion Byron. And yes, I'm using her maiden name because that detail becomes crucial later. This woman had been the picture-perfect supportive wife for 15 years. Her Instagram was filled with family photos, proud posts about Andy's business achievements, and the kind of wholesome content that makes you believe in marriage again. She was raising their 2 children, managing their household, and probably bragging to her friends about her successful husband who was out networking that evening. Meanwhile, her husband was getting caught in 4K resolution being unfaithful in front of a global audience. The cruel irony here is devastating. While Megan was at home, probably scrolling through social media or watching Netflix, completely unaware that her marriage was disintegrating in real time, the entire world was witnessing her husband's betrayal. Imagine finding out your marriage is over, not from your spouse, not from a private confrontation, but from viral TikToks and Twitter trending topics. That's not just infidelity, that's public humiliation on a scale that most people can't even comprehend. But here's where the story takes a turn that had the internet absolutely losing its collective mind. Instead of falling apart publicly, instead of posting angry rants or crying selfies, Megan Byron pulled off what social media is calling the most elegant power move in internet history. Her first action? She quietly removed Byron from her Facebook profile. That's it. No dramatic announcement, no lengthy explanation, just a simple name change that spoke volumes. The internet noticed immediately, and suddenly everyone was watching to see what this dignified woman would do next. Meanwhile, Andy was in full panic mode, frantically trying to control a narrative that had already spiraled completely beyond his reach. He disabled comments on his social media accounts, went completely silent online, and basically pulled a digital disappearing act. But the internet never forgets, and screenshots of his old posts about family values and the importance of integrity started circulating like wildfire. The hypocrisy was so blatant, so obvious, that even people who had never heard of him before were roasting him in the comments. And Kristen? She might as well have entered witness protection. Her LinkedIn disappeared. Her Instagram vanished. Her Twitter account was deactivated. The woman achieved a level of online invisibility that would impress the FBI. People started joking that she was probably at the airport with a fake passport and a wig, fleeing the country to escape the social media storm she had helped create. The internet detectives were having a field day, creating elaborate theories about where the chief people officer who forgot about people's feelings might be hiding. But let's not forget the most heartbreaking aspect of this entire mess. Andy and Megan's 2 children, who went from having a normal family life to being the kids whose dad got exposed cheating at a Coldplay concert. These innocent children suddenly found themselves at the center of a viral scandal they had nothing to do with, facing questions at school and dealing with the psychological impact of watching their family implode in real time on social media. This is where Megan truly showed her character. Instead of using her children as props in a social media war, instead of posting anything that might hurt them further, she went completely silent for weeks. The internet was practically begging for her response, creating fan accounts, sending messages of support, and basically treating her like a wronged queen who deserved justice. The anticipation for her first public statement was building to fever pitch levels. And then, after weeks of silence that had everyone on the edge of their seats, Megan finally posted. But it wasn't what anyone expected. No angry rants, no subtle digs at Andy, no dramatic revelations about their marriage. Instead, she posted a simple photo of herself with her 2 children with the caption, "My whole world." That's it. 4 words that said everything and nothing, that showed grace under pressure and priorities that couldn't be shaken by viral fame or public scandal. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Comments flooded in, calling it a masterclass in dignity, praising her strength and basically crowning her the internet's unofficial queen of handling crisis with class. Media outlets picked up the story, relationship experts analyzed her approach, and suddenly Megan wasn't just the victim of a cheating scandal, she was a symbol of how to maintain your dignity when your world falls apart in public. But while the internet was celebrating Megan's grace, the real consequences were just beginning. Reports started surfacing about divorce lawyers, custody battles, and financial settlements that could potentially shake Andy's billion-dollar empire to its core. When you're dealing with that level of wealth, divorce isn't just personal, it's a business transaction that could reshape entire companies and affect hundreds of employees. The professional fallout was equally devastating. Andy's reputation in the tech world was completely destroyed. Who wants to do business with a man who became a viral meme for cheating on his wife? Board meetings were probably awkward, investor calls were likely nightmares, and the company's stock price probably reflected the personal chaos of its CEO. As for Kristen, her career in human resources was essentially over before she even figured out how to log back into LinkedIn. The most incredible part of this entire saga is how a single moment, 30 seconds of Kiss Cam footage, managed to completely unravel multiple lives. Andy lost his marriage, his reputation, potentially billions of dollars, and became one of the most universally mocked men on the internet. Kristen lost her career, her online presence, and probably any chance of working in HR ever again. But Megan? She somehow emerged from this disaster as the internet's darling, a symbol of grace under pressure, and quite possibly the future owner of half of a tech empire. The ripple effects of that one concert are still being felt. Andy's company is dealing with the PR nightmare of having a CEO who became a viral villain. Kristen is presumably still in hiding somewhere, probably wondering how Kiss Cam footage ruined her entire existence. The children are adapting to a new reality where their family drama is internet history. And Megan is moving forward with the kind of dignity that makes you believe that sometimes, just sometimes, the universe does deliver justice in the most unexpected ways. What started as an affair that should have remained private became a cautionary tale about living in the digital age, where 30 seconds of poor judgment can undo decades of building a life. Andy Byron learned the hard way that when you're living a double life in an age of smartphones and social media, eventually, the truth finds a way to surface. Usually, in the most spectacularly public way possible. So the next time you're at a concert and that Kiss Cam starts panning around the crowd, remember Andy Byron and think twice about who you're sitting next to. Because in today's world, 30 seconds of footage can cost you everything, and the internet never ever forgets. This is why they say the truth always comes out. Sometimes it just happens to come out in front of 50,000 people and several million social media users who are ready to turn your worst moment into the meme of the century.